I can always just fix it in post.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
This is the talk through the intro episode. Magnus, motherfucker.
地球の心と物質
Hell yeah. We are back. Oh shit, we are back. I was too close to the mic.
Get a load of this guy.
We're back to the episode. How you doing? It's Frankie Rincon.
We got Frankie Corner over here.
Frankie Corner.
Gavi Javi Martinez over here. Back again.
Welcome back. If you're listening, thank you for coming back. If you're listening, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. If this is your first episode, I think I'm just gonna make it my thing now.
Yeah.
Where whenever I reference like, if this is your first episode,
Yeah.
glad to pop your cherry.
Fuck you. If this is your first episode, fuck you. Where were you when you were shooting in the gym, bro?
Yo, man,
Yeah.
all I'm saying is like we all need to go to the gym together.
100%.
Like,
Just for the
gym.
sauna. Just for the sauna.
No towels?
No towels.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
That's banana bread. You know what else is banana bread?
This weather, bro. It's 9 degrees, bro. Everybody got swamp ass. Everybody walking around with swamp ass.
That's not banana bread.
Oh, yeah. Talking about the banana bread is good.
But you know what is banana bread? Talking about what's going on in the earth.
In our minds.
It's why it matters.
This is Earth, Mind, and Matter. We are back again.
Again, we fucking did it. You know, who would have thunk it? Like, you, myself included, we were all looking out on the horizon. We were like, is that a hiatus? We said, no.
Hell yeah. What's it called? This is episode 65, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It is. I finally got my shit together.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, we're back here. We're here to put on a show for you guys because that's what we chose to do with our lives on on the 21st of April. No, it's June.
Bruh.
Can't read that for shit.
Literally called out of work for you guys.
Yeah,
so,
man. What's it called? My last name is Rincon, which means corner in Spanish. So whenever I'm doing my job as a server, I'm always yelling corner. That's my last name, so I feel like ridiculous, you know. That's like if you're walking around, you're like Martinez.
Dude, people in my job like to refer to each other by their last names,
Really?
and I'm like, don't do that. Like, just call me Javi, please. Like, I don't want to be called Martinez. Fuck that.
Have you ever had a nickname?
Besides Javi?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like a name. That's a shortened version of your name, right?
I mean, it's not like an official name.
Yeah. Like,
so,
yo, what's up, Reebok? Like that.
No, I used to gel my hair back when I was a kid. And so sometimes people would call me Porcupine.
Porcupine?
Yeah.
Oh, you had the spikes?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I used to be called in high school Frank the Tank from my football coach because, you know, football. But other than that, nah, my pool name, like when I play billiards, is called Slime because of Jonathan. But yeah, I don't know. Having a nickname is mad funny. But there's some people who just naturally get nicknames. Like Jonathan, we call him Scooch. Yeah. Which is crazy, you know? People are just Scooch. Like, what kind of name is that, you know? Oh, yeah.
Another nickname that I used to have, or not even a nickname, it's just in general, people like don't know how to really pronounce my name super well.
Javier?
Right? Yeah, like
what?
Like I've had it happen so many times, like in school and whatever, of just like people not being able to pronounce my name correctly. Yeah. One of the worst times that someone mispronounced my name was when they called me Harvey. And I was like, boy, like where the fuck did you get Harvey from?
It's just some dyslexic kid.
Like I've had certain teachers and professors like give up on trying to learn how to say my name so that like when it came to counting attendance, they would just see me and be like, okay, he's here.
It's that weird kid with the spiky hair.
Yeah, Porcupine's here.
Porcupine over here, bro.
And I'm like, I'm really there just like,
oh, brother, this guy stinks.
Well, happy Pride also. It's Pride Month.
Pride.
I saw a video where some guy made rainbow lasagna or like rainbow pasta, and all the comments were like, "Yo, that pasta looks gay as fuck." You know, and they were like, "Hell yeah!"
and you know, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I feel like some of y'all like would probably like to think that maybe Frankie's not the most supportive, but you know, I have proof that he is supportive. Okay. All right. Because when we were hanging out last time and we're walking down, we cut the corner and there are two beautiful women in dresses. What did Frankie do? He didn't comment on how beautiful they were. He said, that could have been us. He said, that could have been us, guys.
Yeah, wearing sundresses.
Yeah. And
you know how much I love to wear sundresses.
And you know, and just think about it. I picked you up from work that day. Like, it's amazing that we didn't kiss by the end of the night. I'm just saying, dog. Like, fucking hell.
So let's just end this episode right now, bro. No, that day we hung out in Soho was fun as fuck. That was a good time. I remember I was so happy because I have been working so much. And I remember when we sat down and I got my Modelo and I just was so happy. I was just so cheery about it, having a little beverage.
We were excited baby gift.
We were like, oh,
finally had a word.
No, but it's good fucking weather. Summer just started. We did take a couple weeks off, but sometimes it's for the better. But we're back, and today is a news episode. Aside from the AMC episode, we have some very exciting stuff coming in the future when it comes to the AMC. Please stay tuned for that. Really fucking cool.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, other than that, I have some news, and I'm ready. I'm ready.
You fucking ready?
I'm ready, bro. That's what I'm saying, dog. I won't just go into one quick topic. God damn, my show was loud as fuck. I hope if you're up in the morning and listening to this, that shit woke you up. But this is just one quick topic, real quick. Jonathan Majors, he's back in action. So,
back in action.
So you remember Jonathan Majors, Kang? How you say? He got into a little domestic affair where he was charged of assault and what else? What was it? I have it right here. What I'm saying. He was convicted of 1 count of reckless assault and 1 count of harassment. Okay. And he is set to star in a revenge thriller called Merciless. So they booked him and now he's going to be in a movie. The movie's directed by Martin Villanova. It's familiar, right? Familiar. It sounds so familiar. Yeah. I should have looked up the movies he's done, but I'm lazy. Right? And because he was convicted earlier before this new role, he was stripped of The Man in My Basement, which is a novel adaptation. And there's an Otis Redding movie, a biopic coming out called Otis and Zelma. He lost that role too. I don't know if he was going to play Otis Redding, but he was going to be in that film. And of course, most famously, he lost his role as Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel movies, which means that's a lot of bank he just missed out on, man. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Fucking
now he'll only ever be a millionaire.
God damn it. What's it called? You think they were going to go forward with him in the future Marvel movies?
Hell no.
No? You think that was it for it?
Yeah, I think Disney's too woke for that. Like in terms of like, regardless that they did sort of go back on the James Gunn situation, like where they kind of realized, you know what, maybe that was a bit extreme of us.
What are you talking about? James Gunn with the Flash?
No. Where after Guardians 2, a bunch of old tweets from James Gunn had resurfaced where they were just kind of like tweet jokes that James Gunn was trying to make that just were not in the best of taste and stuff.
What the fuck?
And so Marvel fired him for that. And that's why Guardians 3 didn't come out like as quickly as it did, because he got fired from Marvel, and then that's when DC scooped him up to make the Suicide Squad.
The new one.
And
that shit was fucking awesome.
And it was so amazing that now he's spearheading DC. And
oh my god, bro! The tweets are terrible.
Yeah, they're not good.
I'm gonna read this, and this is purely James Gunn's tweet, not mine. James Gunn, quote: "The Expendables was so manly, I fucked the shit of the little pussy boy next to me. The boys are back in town."
Yep.
What the fuck? Another one. This is James Gunn. "I'm doing a big Hollywood film adaptation of The Giving Tree with the happy ending. The tree grows back and gives the kid a blowjob." That's kind of funny. All right, this is the last one. This is James Gunn's words. Tweets: "The best thing about being raped is when you're done being raped, it's like, whew, this feels great. Not being raped." Oof.
Yikes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that happened to James Gunn, and he got fired for that from Marvel, and then DC scooped him up, all that jazz, and
this is crazy stuff. God damn, bro. Why the fuck is he twirling us? I can't talk. Why was he tweeting all this stuff?
He was, that was during a time where he was trying to be more of a comedian in his career and stuff. So he was just like shooting like tweet jokes and stuff, like basically just practicing his content or whatever.
Yeah, look right here. Is laughter is the best medicine. That's why I laugh at people with AIDS. That's pretty funny. You know what they used to call people with AIDS? What they say they would have?
What?
Grids.
You
ever heard of that?
Would they take out the I from that, where it just be GRDS?
I don't know, but I think it was. They used to call. So Beatrice was like, "You got the grids." I was like, "Damn, bro, what the fuck?" But yeah, it used to be called grids or grid, whatever. The more you know. I don't know why, but yeah, maybe ask James Gunn.
But I mean, with that James Gunn situation.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, fucking Marvel's never gonna hire Jonathan Majors again for Kang, because like they fucking fired James Gunn for these tweets and stuff. And yes, they did rehire him again for Guardians 3. But James Gunn is never really gonna return like as a staple for Marvel again. Like,
it was just that one film to finish it off and then get the fuck out of here, right?
If he ever does anything again for Marvel, I would imagine it would just like maybe he would do Star-Lord again with
Chris Pratt?
With Chris Pratt, since they have a good relationship and stuff. But it's just like those movies are going to be really far and few in between. I would imagine for James Gunn and Marvel.
No, but what I meant is like, what had he not done these things, would Jonathan Majors have been used in the future in Marvel movies?
Oh, if he didn't
do these things,
of course,
yeah,
because he was being lined up to be the big baddie of the new Marvel universe,
like the next Thanos,
universe.
right?
Yeah, the next Thanos.
Oops.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the next Thanos of the MCU and stuff. And it's just fucking he done did the deed.
He done goof. Well. Again, in his new film Merciless, Majors will play a CIA investigator who wants to avenge his girl after a quote she's overtaken by a malevolent force. And it'd be funny if the malevolent force was Jonathan Majors.
It's really just Gemini Man.
Just wearing a mustache. But there was that footage of him running in the city, no? Like running away from the wife or some shit like that, the girl. I don't know. This chair is noisy as fuck.
It is.
What the hell, bro? It's just been clicking and clacking the whole time we got there. I try not to move that much.
That fucking Jonathan Majors like situation is such a tricky thing to me, because it's like, there's so much evidence that shows that he did do what he did. But then there are those like small snippets of like him running away from the girl in the street. And it's like, we don't have a lot of information about that type of stuff. And so it's like, it's a really like back and forth type of thing for me. I'm just like, it's like,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah. It's like the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
It's like, they showed me the Carfax. Like there's no denying it. It just sucks. And it's like, damn, dude. Like,
he had an interview recently too. I think 60 Minutes or something. I don't know. I didn't watch it. I didn't care that much, but I know like he cried during the interview as well and stuff. And I'm sure it affected him crazy, because your whole world just gets flipped upside down, But when you work for someone like Disney, it's just like inevitable, like, you have to be perfect. And I've seen a lot of things where like Zendaya and other people who are like kid actors, the way people react to them talking to people, like interviews. Like I think Zendaya had an interview where they asked about Timothée Chalamet and how he felt about her kissing him, even though she's dating Tom Holland, and she evaded the question so well, and they were like, oh, all these actors are Disney trained,
right.
And then it reminds me of Kanye West's response to like when they asked him about Palestine, and he was like, hey, I'm worried right now mostly about like the kids in Chicago that are dying every year. We have, that's my focus right now, just the kids in Chicago, the people in Chicago. And so I mean that's kind of different to this whole situation, but man, staying out of the spotlight in the 21st century, right? What's 21st century stuff? It's fucking insane, man. And
it's a difficult thing.
Yeah.
It's just
and every little thing you do, someone's always keeping a tab.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they fucking got James Gunn. So it's shit like that.
He got himself, to be fair.
I mean, I'm not saying that like he didn't do anything wrong.
Is he a comedian though? Because I feel like, I don't know, comedians do that as well, and there's a lot of like funny comedians who put up dirty tweets, but he wanted to be a comedian, or he just was trying to be funny, or
he was trying to be a comedian at some point during his career. So.
He's on his Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker.
He's the only one laughing at the fucking club. But the whole Jonathan Major things to me, because like even at that idea of like, oh, the whole world is being flipped upside down, you think of like, Chris Brown. And like Chris Brown.
Yeah, he's back.
He's back.
Breezy's back.
And it's like, you guys will hear in a future episode, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But referencing BoJack again. Or it's just
I thought you were going to be like, I beat a woman. I also beat a Brianna.
I was there. But fucking like fucking that just threw me off. But Jesus fucking Link just ice cube. The Link just fucking left an ice cube on the couch. The wet ass spot.
I was watching it the whole time, just about.
You fucking
I thought you knew, bro.
But
BoJack.
In BoJack, they make the joke where like BoJack has done so many terrible things throughout the show, where his manager Princess Carolyn is like, BoJack is really worried and concerned of like, oh, what if all this stuff gets out? And Princess Carolyn just tells him like, BoJack, listen, like if this stuff ever gets out, like it's not the end of the world. Yeah, like people will be upset at you
for like 10 minutes,
be mad at you, but 5-10 years from now, it'll be like nothing ever happened.
That's so funny, man. When I was younger, I knew this kid named Dominic. Shout out to you, Dominic, if you ever see this shit. He was my first bad influence of a friend. Okay. You know, I've had friends that
Shout out to you, Dominic. Shout out Dominic.
Nah, he was cool motherfucker. He was dope as fuck because he was pretty wise for his age, I guess. Or maybe I was just too what's the word to describe? I was just too like, I guess I was too naive, but I was also very just like accepting of the world and thought everybody was gonna be kind and this and that, you know, like I was very positive, right? And so I started hanging out with him because I met him in class, and then he lived near me, so we would hang out in the park, just do random shit. And then one time, I lived next to a pool, so we like went over the brick wall, where a bunch of kids do that. We all did that. We went over the brick wall, and then we went over, and he had like a lighter. We found some spray paint, so we started spray painting mad shit and everything, and then we lit some shit on fire because we did the spray paint and the lighter, and we went right. And we lit some shit on fire, and it started to accumulate a lot of smoke. I remember I spray painted the Latin King sign for no reason. That's to be honest with you, I did that.
Someone to come knocking down your door, motherfucker.
Nah, it's all renovated now. It's fine. But we lit some shit on fire, and it was like really accumulating, and it wasn't in danger of burning down because it was abandoned and brick. But watch that be like the biggest risk factors of burning buildings. But then we were like, fuck. So I tried to put it out, and I didn't know this. If you step on a fire with your shoe, your foot's gonna burn. And you would think, I'm not talking about like step on it, like, you know, like you're killing a roach, like, you know, you know, but I took my foot off and I was like, oh, fuck. And then I think before that, we were playing with the spray paint, and the black spray paint had run out, right? So then I just like threw it on the floor, and then we were like, yo, let's try to pop it or something. So we threw a rock at it, and I threw a rock at it, and spray paint went in my eye.
Jesus Christ,
and I was so scared I was gonna go blind, but nothing happened, thankfully. You know. And then ultimately, we were walking around, I think either after or before, but he was like, mind you, I'm like maybe 12, right? 13, 12, whatever. And the way he talked was kind of like this, you know? And he was like, Frankie, just think about it. I'm like, what happened? He's like, in 10 years, who's gonna give a fuck? And I was like, shit, you're right. No one cares, bro. Nobody cared about that whole situation, you know? And yeah, so it's interesting.
I mean, even to that regard, like on the positive aspect of that, to sort of relate to that, like, you know, even when it comes to sort of relationship issues and stuff like that, like someone was talking to me about how their partner is going to be away for a while, and so they were like, oh, I don't know what this means for us, like should we end things, should we like continue things, whatever the case is. And I really came down to the idea with them of just like, well, you know, what's like, I forget how long the person was going to be away. And I was like, you know, what's 6 months compared to your lifetime?
Exactly.
Like, you know, if this is your person, then like 6 months is going to be like that.
Yeah.
So, but you know, time is all a concept and not real. And so it's just fuck it. Like, take that shit day by day.
Always.
Except you, Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors. You got to sit back, think about your actions and shit like that.
You need to leave. You need to sit down and talk about what you did.
So what's the plans for Marvel now in the future, now that Kang is gone?
That's really up in the air.
Yeah.
Because like now it really seems like they're messing more with the multiverse stuff. Yeah. Like even the Fantastic Four.
Ant-Man.
Yeah, like Ant-Man and everything. And it's just, they really wanted Kang to be on the forefront of that because he usually is in the comics when it comes to multiversal stuff.
Yeah.
But they literally named Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty.
Oh, damn.
And so they have already removed that from the title of Avengers 5. Yeah. So now Avengers 5 doesn't have a title right now. So there's still going to be Avengers Secret Wars. That's still going to happen, apparently.
Why don't they just use someone else? They don't want to do that? They don't want to put a different guy?
I think they just had this plan set and like, it's just...
it looks wrong if it's a different person, you know? Like if it's not Kang,
like a different actor, you mean?
Like just have somebody else play Kang.
They could. It's just like I haven't seen any talk about that online.
Yeah.
Like and also I feel like, maybe they don't want to do that because it could come off as like maybe distracting to audience members. Where like
who the fuck is that?
not even that, but just more so like a lot of audience members, even average moviegoers, know about like a Jonathan Majors situation and stuff. So it's like I feel like that would bring a lot of like headlines and stuff. I feel like that'd bring a lot of headlines of like, the new King actor, this and that, whatever. Like,
I feel like they just want continuance, and I feel like somebody's gonna call it racist. They're gonna be like, "Oh, it's not Jonathan Majors. They don't look nothing like him." And it's like, "Fuck yeah, it's a white guy."
they get you.
I'd be hyped to do it, bro. Disney.
I'm just imagine you fighting the Avengers, like, I'm Frank the Tank, baby.
Frank. Fuck yeah, but yeah. So that's that. I also have another interesting. I have another story. Have you ever seen Black Mirror?
Some episodes, not all of them.
Have you seen? Okay, I'm gonna say this story, and you let me know if you've seen one that sounds similar to this, right?
Okay.
So there's a guy called Michael Boomer.
Yeah.
Right? You heard about that?
No.
So Michael Boomer got diagnosed with terminal colon cancer, and he was given a few weeks to live. And so he posted online, and one of his friends saw it, right? And he was like, "Yo, Michael, I got this opportunity for you. You want to create an interactive AI version of yourself, right?"
Okay.
So usually when you make an AI version of yourself, it takes months, but he needed to do it in less than a week, right? And for the voice of the AI, apparently he needed to just record 300 specific sentences, and then you're good.
Okay.
I don't know that. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And he has a wife also, so it's something to consider, right? And then he told 150 stories about his life experiences, advice he'd give to his children and his grandchildren, and conveyed his principles. Basically making a sum of who he is.
A copy of himself, almost a digital virtual copy of himself,
like putting his morals. But I was like, it'd be funny if he was like super racist and sexist, and they just make a fucking complete asshole, AI asshole.
That's like the Tay AI from Microsoft. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Oh my god, fucking! It was like this.
It was saying that the Holocaust didn't exist.
Yeah, like saying crazy racial statements on Twitter and shit, and people being like, "Whoa!"
That's the real side of AI. What's it called? Just create an immoral asshole. And but him and his wife see it more as a tool, right? And what's it called? He had a blank statement, a blanket statement. Over this, and he was like, "Quote: If it's used or not, if they hang it as a picture or they put it in a drawer, I don't care. I cannot influence that, but I can leave it. Right? I can leave it behind." And And I thought it was interesting. Because he's leaving behind his best friend, his wife,
right, and
she's gonna be alone. And you haven't seen a Black Mirror episode resemble this?
I don't think so.
There is one, and it's fucking weird. So it's crazy that they made that episode. So I know you don't really like AI as much like that. But what do you think about this? What do you think about this being a way for people to cope with people's deaths and all that shit?
I mean that. Like, again, to talk about Hollywood and acting and stuff like that, I feel like that's also similar to like how with the actors strike and things like that, about how a lot of people were like, "Oh, we don't like this idea of like digitally scanning our faces for AI to use our faces in movies and shit like that." And it's happened now, and it's happening more where they are like almost reviving dead actors into movies and stuff. Like they've done it for Star Wars twice now. But
the family gave consent.
Consent is given.
Yeah.
But
I feel like if the consent is there, it's fine.
Right. And so it's just but like in terms of the actors strike, that's like that was something that agencies were trying to slip into the contracts. Like they were trying to make it like not like fine print.
Like if you work for us, then in the future we're allowed to use your AI version.
Yes,
that's fucked up. You can't do that.
So that was a big thing behind the actors strike and things like that when that was happening. And we both saw Furiosa. Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this to you at any point, but AI was using that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit, I just know a lot of people complain about some of the CGI. Yeah. What AI was used?
They used AI mixed with CGI to de-age Anya Taylor-Joy onto the kid's face, like for that first portion of the movie.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw the movie, I didn't see none of these flaws that people are talking about. Maybe I saw it in IMAX, and that helps the the quality of the film. But that makes a lot of sense that a lot of people were very upset about the AI being used there, you know, because I'm like, what did you guys see that ticked you off so much that it made the movie bad for you? Because I didn't see it once. Even when I saw that film, I thought they were talking about the scene, which is no spoilers, but like when she gets whipped to the wall and falls on the ground. Like I thought maybe that looked a little fake, I guess. But no, like face wise or anything, like I didn't see nothing wrong. I just saw like a child. I didn't even know that was AI. That looked like a person. You know?
Yeah. It's done really well.
So I feel like people are just maliciously complaining to just, you know, throw the AI there.
Well,
but I don't know if I saw it wrong. You know,
I personally haven't seen like really any talk about AI being used in the movie. I only know this because my friend who had seen the movie, she had seen in the credits that they had a thing dedicated to AI, and so she searched it up and told me about it. And then when I went to go see it, I saw for myself like the AI thing in the credits, and I looked into it a bit online, and it really made me think of like, damn, Anya Taylor-Joy like signed off on this.
Yeah.
And, like it really is interesting to think of like, what if like, you know, something happens to Anya Taylor-Joy, they can just keep using her face in movies.
But I think they signed up for like the one movie, not like continuous movies, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the contract.
I would imagine that's the case, you know?
Like, you know, ideally that would be ideal, right? But this is Hollywood. So.
Yeah, but I think actresses and actors are smart enough to get lawyers to be like, I'm, you know, because they can't make money that way. And then they could put their face on a terrible film, like deepfakes and porn, you know, that. And then what's it called? They said Scarlett Johansson, they used her voice, even though she said no on you heard about that? The Chat GPT?
No, I didn't actually.
It was either Chat GPT or something, but they had asked her to record, basically, I'm assuming the 300 sentences, so she could reiterate every sentence and use that voice for Chat GPT. But she said no. And then the voice they ended up using, which they said was a real person and just coincidentally sounded like her. So then Scarlett Johansson was mad, bro. It might have been, no, which was the one that played Black Widow?
Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yeah. She was mad. And yeah, that was a whole thing back and forth and everything. But then it gets a little iffy because some people just sound like one another. And if you hear the AI and then you hear her, like they sound similar, but I don't know. It's really up to you to decide, you know? Yeah,
I mean, because to go back to sort of this topic at hand of like, you know, the beneficial side of having AI and being able to sort of make an AI version of yourself for a loved one. Yeah. It's like that is a good thing. Like that is like a good sentiment. Yeah. It just scares me in the sense of like, what is death then? Yeah. It's like, you know, if you're always gonna be alive, like regardless that like you are gone, but a version of you is still out there, like,
or that awkward moment when you ask something it doesn't know and it just makes up some shit that you know they would never say, you know, and it's just. But you're right. What is death, right? And then if they create more sophisticated versions of it where they can make a robot look like a cyborg, look like your past loved one,
your fucking brain,
and then it just really becomes a person, you know?
Yeah, like that would be like a way to cheat death almost, and like I feel like that
it's a clone.
You know, it's a clone, and I think, you know, to me one of the most important things about life, because it is a part of life, is death. Yeah, and it's just that might be morbid to say and that might be depressing to say, but I think without death there's no life.
Yeah, no, I mean it makes you more appreciative of life, you know?
Yeah, and so. In that instance, if say no one ever died, I think we would become very desensitized as a society of just being like, oh, like it doesn't matter because like
I'll live on.
Yeah,
but some people have the idea they'll live on regardless, like through their legacy, you know, because I feel like that's what people, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I think when it comes down to today's day and age, I think people are forgetting legacy and they're confusing it for momentary success, you know,
novelty.
Like, but I think somebody said this, they were like legacy over currency, and it was really used. It was like somebody with like, I don't know, but yeah, the things you leave behind are real crucial. The attempts you've made, you know, the people you've helped, and all that shit, and it's so much more important than that selfish decision, you know, or even that wrong decision or this and that. And like what you end up doing for the rest of your life. Like, you know, you got a lot of people who are like, before it was strippers, now it's like OnlyFans stuff and everything. But like I read this book, Pachinko, and in one of the parts, like this guy who's rich, you know, he gets like this young girl And this young girl, she's basically like, sleeping with him, but she's very beautiful, but she always wants to go shopping, right? And then the guy, he's like, you wait in the car with the chauffeur. Like, you guys wait, all right? I'm having an important discussion. He has the important discussion. And then at one point, the girl ends up coming up to him during his discussion. And she is like, come on, can you hurry up? Like, I want to go shopping already. I want to go shopping. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? So like, he goes back to the car with her and he like beats her, and like he messes up her face, and like she still, has a nice body, but her face will never be the same again. And the chauffeur, he's like, why the fuck did you let her go out? And anyway, so instead now the girl who was living life lavishly before, using her looks to get by and get all these things. And that time period, the rest of her life, she had to work in this basically public shower for like rich guys and bathe them because her face was no longer good enough to be used.
To be a moneymaker.
Yeah. And that's what happens into your legacy because you took advantage of what you had and took the easy way out, and I mean, there's no right or wrong way of living, I guess, because there's morals, but they're also, your definition of right and wrong is so broad and different to some people. But that in itself is so interesting. So now, people, I think they're caring less about it because, social media has such immediate rewards when you get a like or 10,000 likes,
I mean, because to me,
dopamine, man.
Dopamine. But to me, like, I've heard some people say like, oh, I never want to die. I wish I can say, I hope I say, live long enough for them to cure death. And it's like, no, death isn't something to cure. Yeah. Like that, it's just a part of life. Yeah. And like what you said, that's what brings importance to life. I've always told people that, I always tell people your tombstone isn't going to have your net worth on it. Yeah. Unless you're fucking like Mark Zuckerberg.
That shit says on my thing $10.
My shit's gonna say $5 in a sandwich. But it's just for us common folk, like our tombstones aren't gonna have our net worth on it. It's gonna say loving this or whatever. Ideally, hopefully, if you're not a
bitch
piece
ass
of shit,
motherfucker.
Yeah, and it's just I think that's the most important thing to do at the end of the day. Just be kind and nice to one another and make a positive impact. And even if it might not be the most biggest impact, I think even when you make those interpersonal impacts on one another, that can mean a lot to
every little
people.
Small decision, because that little small decision you made could impact somebody for the rest of their lives, or it could be that one memory they remember that they apply to like many instances where they need a guide, but then there is immortal jellyfish, so I think say the next person that's born is immortal just because nature somehow accrued it that way, right? But they can still be killed, right? Then it becomes interesting, right? Because if somebody becomes immortal, you would never know until they're like 300, and then you're like, okay, what the fuck is up with this guy?
No, this guy's in all these pictures. He keeps photobombing all these pictures.
And then what if if people start becoming immortal, everything's fucked. Because then there's selective living. Like now we gotta select who gets to live, who gets to not live, right? And then eventually there would be like mandatory killings because we're like, we're overpopulated. Let's kill these people. Let's kill these people. These people don't matter. These people do. That'd be crazy, right?
Race war.
Facts. Oh my god.
So like even thinking about this AI thing, like it just scares me in the sense of like, even if our corpses aren't here and we're living digitally like that, it sounds like a nice sentiment. It sounds like a nice saying. It's like, okay, I still have this person with me. Like, it on paper to me, it looks the same as like, keeping a person's voicemails or keeping a person's text messages. Yeah. But at the end of the day, that AI isn't that person. And like, as much as you might want to be like, this AI is this person because this person made this AI and whatever the case is, but there's like what you mentioned, there's going to be like a roadblock at a certain point where it's not going to know how to answer something or say something
or come up with something kind of newish, right? Like, I mean, maybe it will though, and answer the same way. Because imagine you have an AI version of somebody and then they do say something that like, oh, he would definitely have said that, or she would definitely have said that, or they would definitely have said that. But I don't like it at all, man. I would never, ever want to do this with anything or anyone or any pet or whatever. Like, I think once someone's gone, they're gone. And to have them as an AI version to you would just be like complete torture every single day. Yeah. And even to have it exist for one day is torture because you would always want to refer back to it because you want to think that, you know, they made this for me. So like to neglect it would be wrong. But ultimately, like, I don't want to be with it. So if I'm leaving that behind, then I'm, you know, doing the person I love dirty. And then you get into this mental thwart where you're just like, no, I'm kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, it gets really insane. So that to me, that sounds more detrimental than actual, like, losing a person you loved. Because again, like, they lived their life to the fullest.
Exactly.
And they're gone. But it'd be incredibly interesting. And I don't know. But then say you're married to Stephen Hawking and then he became an AI and he's pretty much the same thing.
I mean, he's still doing all the like the speech stuff and talking. Like it's still like him putting the inputs in.
But he doesn't have a voice. He talk like this. I don't know. It's crazy, bro. I don't know. Damn.
You know, I did think about our conversation when you mentioned Stephen Hawking of like, what if Stephen Hawking like used like ChatGPT to make a painting or whatever with AI? Something that I thought about.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Something that I thought about after the fact was like, to me, that's not like that's. It's like if say one of us was a writer and the other one was an artist. Like if I wrote a paper about like a scene and gave it to you to draw it, would you still like give me like credit or would you say that I'm the artist? Like you still did the art. So like who's the artist there? If all I did was write something and you ran with it.
Well, let's do this. I think we both. I would never. I mean, I think probability says I would more than likely never capture exactly what you put down on paper. Right. Because you don't even know what you put down on paper. You get me? Because everything you write never is exactly what you've seen or imagined. Right. Right. So there is no direct correlation between a writing and a painting. Right. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you consider an artist? Is an artist a person who just draws?
I mean, yeah. Like, you know, if it like, you know, if you're like physically doing the thing,
an artist is like someone who makes music.
Yeah, like it's just I think what it is like when you have that physical like analog input of like I'm doing this thing like through labor or manual labor or whatever the case is. Because like I was saying, like, you know, if I wrote a sentence or two and gave it to you and like you drew something, I wouldn't say I drew it.
No, of course not. Like, because you literally physically did it.
So that's what I thought about when we after the fact when we had that conversation of like, what if Stephen Hawking used ChatGPT? It's like, like I still wouldn't say that Stephen Hawking like is like an artist or anything. He just typed in a sentence
for sure.
And so
because the most art he can do is like put paint on his wheels and paint on the floor, you know, and make something like that. Because he can. People do. I mean,
he definitely can. Like I've seen people fucking.
He can't no more. But
I've seen people fucking paint with their dicks.
Everything,
like,
bro.
You know,
like,
you know, I've seen one person paint with their titties before. Like,
I can't believe that. People doing it in Union Square.
That's where I saw it. No, I'm joking. You know, if you got a body part, you can paint.
Yeah. But then, so anybody who's unable to move from the neck down is unable to be an artist.
Unfortunately,
that's not true. I don't think that's true. I think,
like you can use your mouth, hold the paintbrush in your mouth.
If you're completely unable to move any part of your body, you're just comatose. Not comatose, but you vegetable state, right? But you can move your eyes and, you know, and speak a little or like tap one finger, like, you know.
I mean, maybe if like the Vision Pro, you could do like VR stuff.
I think again, this is what I told to somebody that I was talking to, and they're very young. I said, I think AI is a tool that people. I think right now the rage that's toward AI is a self-defense mechanism for people who are artists, and that's their immediate reaction, right? And I think in the future, when they refine it more and make it way less accessible, it'll be this population of artists, and some will like, you know, completely still hate that shit and never want to accept it. And a couple of them will be like, okay, like I'm going to grow with this towards the future alongside AI, be more accepting. And then a group indifferent, and there's going to be a range because not everybody's the same. Yeah. So this person was very young, so they were like, no, that's impossible. Like there's no way that can happen. I know all artists hate AI. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm assuming a lot of them do, but you don't know every single artist, you know? And
I mean,
there's already
there's a reason why there's AI artists out there.
exactly. There's AI artists, and then there's awards for AI art, and it's going to be an inevitable tool that I think is fine. But don't get me wrong, a lot of people hate that shit, and I like to play devil's advocate with a lot too.
No, I mean, and like, which is why I think we can have interesting conversations about AI on this show, especially. But like, and I've definitely expressed how like I'm not the biggest fan of AI, but I've also expressed how I can see it being used for beneficial things as well.
Like reference, right? Like that's the one thing you say you use it for, right? Yeah.
Like if you absolutely can't imagine a certain pose or something like that, like I wouldn't see the biggest issue of just like typing.
It's the same thing as getting action figure, moving it a certain way, and then drawing up the action figure.
Right.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting.
So it's stuff like that where it's like I can totally see that just being used in a practical sense, and like even with this show, with the Elon Jet episode, I use like the AI features in Adobe to help like enhance the audio and all that stuff. And so it's like it can be used properly and it can be used practically. It just scares me when companies are pushing it so intensely,
where it replaces people and everything, right?
Where it's just they're like AI is such a hot word in today's tech space where it's like
I would say it's the next Jesus, but I don't know if you heard, but Trump said something about like it's the new N word, not that one, but it was something with the N. It was pretty funny. It's a certain thing today that starts with the N. He was like, yeah, you can't even say it. It's a new N word. Everybody was like, yo, chill the fuck out. But AI pretty much has that same effect now. You go into fucking Michael's.
Everybody's
like, what the fuck you said, bro?
They just clock their fucking pencil tweezers.
Their Sharpies, bro.
Their Sharpies.
They start clicking their mechanical pencil.
Like, the fuck you say, bitch? But I don't know, man. That shit just like, for me, like, I think when I feel like companies are really pushing it almost too intensely, that can be the issue of it, because I can see a future where it's used more practically as a tool. But then you see how companies are pushing it a little too far. Where like, again, with Adobe, now these brand new AI features that they're introducing with this generative fill. It's a hard word. But the generative fill for
genitalia.
I can't say it quickly.
Generative. What the hell?
Anyways,
it's the first word I've ever heard you have trouble speaking. I usually fuck up the word.
That word is hard for me to say for whatever reason. But anyways, generative.
I'm going to bring up so much stories that have generative. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, like that whole feature is so intense now, where it's like they are pushing you to use the
even Instagram has it. But there's a good point that Adobe, the whole point is to create, like your whole task to do with that. Like Adobe, the shitty thing about it is that you can't get on it and have some bullshit pop up that's beautiful. Like if you want to make something spin in a circle, you better learn how to fucking change that frame rate, that fucking position, the shadow lighting, each thingy, go back this frame, and then you gotta do, and just for that shit to go, you know what I mean? Like just once, because that's how fucking difficult. I mean, it sounds, it's not so much when you just grasp it.
It's just tedious more than anything. I mean, like, with that Ghostbusters last episode.
Just to make the smoke.
Yeah, the visualizer and all that shit took me all day. It took me all fucking day.
It's incredible, man. And then it's hard because like when you make something and like with the logos and stuff like that, and then you're like, what do you think of this? You're like, you should probably change this and this. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me right now, bro?
I just spent whole day.
I just spent Christmas doing this fucking.
What are you doing, step bro?
Yeah, but I don't know. I think the AI thing is always interesting to talk about. But I think this is a new thing that I heard. This just happened maybe a couple of weeks ago. I mean, low-key, he's probably dead already. Not gonna lie to you. But there is a Black Mirror episode about that, and it's fucking weird, man. But let me get on to my last story. It's a little lengthy, not too lengthy, but it's interesting. We haven't had a drink on the show in a while.
Yeah.
What warning labels do you usually see on a liquor bottle?
Fucking don't drink if you're pregnant. Don't drink and drive. Drink responsibly. That type of stuff.
Yeah. What's that?
Liver disease or whatever. That type of shit.
Yeah. And then some say it may cause health problems, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So in 2026, Ireland is going to start labeling all liquor bottles with a sticker that reads, "There is a direct link between alcohol and fatal cancers." Right?
Wow.
And back in 2004, Ireland was the first country to ban smoking inside the workplace, bars, and restaurants. And after that, 70 countries followed that same, law to no smoking. And what's it called? There's another one that would read, drinking alcohol causes liver disease, right? In Thailand, they're very close to adding graphic images to alcohol with similar stickers that read, quote, alcoholic beverages can cause cancer. And in Canada, the Canadian Parliament introduced a bill that would require a similar sticker stating that there's a link between alcohol and fatal cancers. And Alaska state legislator met and discussed a bill having a sign that spreads the message in stores that sell alcohol. So when you walk into a liquor store, they'll be like, oh, you might get cancer if you buy this, right? And
oh my God.
in Norway, they're getting ready to begin the process for these labels as well.
Damn, dude.
Right? So reason being is that a lot of people don't know there's a link between alcohol consumption and cancer, right? 1 in 3 Americans were not aware that drinking increased the risk of cancer. Oh no, 1 in 3 Americans were aware that drinking increased the risk of cancer.
Wild.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I made that correlation like that either. In the sense of like the liver thing I get because it's your liver, right? But when you think cigarettes, you think cancer. Why? Because all the boxes say, bro, there are some boxes that say like this will kill you basically. Like it can lead to death in huge letters. And somebody really picked that up and they were like, oh yeah, it looks so cool. And even the vapes, I think I buy the vapes and I don't even see that as much.
Vape Nation, yo.
Vape Nation. Oh, what's it called? But what do you think about that? Like, not so many people knowing about alcohol correlation with cancer, because I don't think it's put out there as much as cigarettes and cancer.
I mean, I guess I'm just coming off as biased because I'm shocked to hear that not many people didn't know that. Yeah, like I've always known that. Yeah, like,
but what cancers are associated with alcohol?
Liver cancer is like the biggest perpetrator of that. But besides that, I don't necessarily know like what other types of cancer you could get from drinking. But I just know that liver is like the top one for sure. And it's just I've always like kind of just thought about that, and because I smoke a fuck ton of weed, and they now more and more as it becomes legal across the country, the labels and the warnings say like, hey, this could lead to cancer, this and that, whatever. And
stomach and pancreatic cancer as well. Okay. And prostate cancer.
Yeah. And so it's just like, you can put these labels on these things as much as you want, but it's like, apparently people still don't know.
Yeah. I think I'm on the side of like, I didn't know, because I read the back and I know the same thing. The don't drive while you're pregnant. Don't drink and drive. Like it may risk.
Don't drive while you're pregnant.
Alcohol also causes memory loss. Yo, if you're pregnant, don't drive.
Get the fuck off the road.
Get that little shit off the drivers. Yeah, but this is crazy. So for Ireland, right? Okay, again, let's backtrack. I said in 2026, Ireland is gonna start putting these, and Ireland known for alcohol,
Right.
Yeah, crazy. James, for Ireland, the advocacy organization Alcohol Action Ireland began this process in 2012 and OD pushback. Damn. So mind you, it's 2024 now, like over a decade of people being like, you want to do what? On what? But deaths in North Ireland from exclusively related conditions of, in terms of alcohol has increased by 46% in the past decade. In 2022, Ireland had their highest amount of registered alcohol-specific deaths, 356, ever. Right. 356 deaths because of only alcohol. Jeez. That's what alcohol-specific deaths mean. Like, not a little bit of alcohol. Like, completely everything was because of that. Almost 2/3 of the fatalities were among men in the age groups of 45 to 54 and 55 to 64. And the problem is that they're not really drinking at bars. They're really buying stuff in the supermarkets and going home to drink it. So that's what's really fucking it up. And that's interesting because when it comes to like New York City, you can only really buy liquor in liquor stores. But in Pennsylvania and Chicago, you can buy those shits at CVS, Target. So, and those are places where you drive more. Yeah. And a lot of people are drinking and driving, Brent.
I mean, I know that in Minnesota, like in Michigan and shit, like fucking because Sabrina, who's from Minnesota, she tells me that over there the happy hour beers there are like $3.
Yeah, man. When I went to Arizona, I bought like a whiskey ginger, and he was like $4. I was like, "What?"
What the and it's fuck? Like that's a really scary thing to think about. Where it's like, yo, man, like you're making alcohol this cheap in a place where you have to drive to
everywhere.
Like, yeah, that shit is fucking scary. And like, yo,
it always confused me to see a bar with a parking lot. Like, what the fuck you doing, bro?
I once heard a fact, or this could not be true. I only ever heard it, but apparently 1 out of 7 drivers on the road are drunk driving.
I believe that.
And I'm like, 1 out of 7? God damn. 1, 2, fuck. Like, shit.
Thankfully, I don't got a license.
Thankfully, I'm the one that's drunk.
When I went to DR, I remember my friend, we got picked up at the airport by his dad and his dad's friend or his uncle. And we were driving at the airport and we're leaving and we're going down the highway or whatever they call it in DR.
El highway.
Mama huevo, el highway. What's it called? And then they stop into the gas station, right? And I'm like, oh, they're probably gonna get gas, whatever. Motherfuckers come back with 2 presidentes, one for the driver, one for the passenger, and then just go on, take us home. And then we pass a cop, and they're like, whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, God damn, bro, we just got here. we just got here.
And then you had a president.
Yeah. They hit different in DR.
And real quick, I remember the last time I was in DR, when I got the news about my publication for CyberSync. We were on a boat party.
We got some Buchanan.
We were on a boat party and like my mom is like in the water. I'm on the top deck and I get the news and I'm like shouting down the edge of the boat. I'm like, Ma, they took the story. And she's like, what?
She's like, okay, Javi, very good.
The music is just blasting. So we couldn't hear each other. So I go down there, I tell her, and she gets so hyped that we take shots together. And we drank so much that day at the boat party that they had to bring more Presidente onto the boat for us. We're like, at one of the stops that we made, we stayed at that stop a little bit longer just so they could deliver the Presidente.
They had a Presidente submarine come, like a real like military submarine.
It was completely made out of Presidente.
I mean, it really is like that, man. Everywhere you go. But apparently Ireland, way worse. Way worse. So,
and to hear that, it's just like, none of those facts really surprise me. It's just like, it's just scary to think about.
I think that's what it is.
And, going back to the idea that I thought a lot of people knew about these certain cancer facts about drinking and the fact that they don't correlate with the fact of how many people actually do die. I think if people were more knowledgeable, maybe we could get that number down.
Yeah. Or maybe people who have cancer in their family are more prone to be like, hey, because I think the WHO said that there's no healthy amount of alcohol consumption in terms of that and preventing cancer, which I'm like, all right, that's a little crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they're right, but it's like
dunks Oreo and whiskey,
has another beer. They can't be right. Just right. But I think a lot of people will hear like, I'm not saying you, but I'm saying I think people will hear like the alcohol and cancer link and they'll be like, oh yeah, I knew that. But then they'll walk away, they'll be like, really? Like, like, is that really, And so that's kind of brought it up. And these facts that come up are fucking it's sad because it's like, it's mostly happening in Europe. And I think the most alcohol related deaths are happening in Russia and Ukraine and somewhere else, which they probably need that because they're probably tight as fuck over there. You know what I mean? So, a group of major alcohol exporting Euro countries submitted formal objections to the labels, saying that if they were to put on the labels, it would impede free trade. They also argued, they also argued that it was not appropriate or proportionate to the objective of reducing alcohol's harm. So I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, how? Like, how is it not? Like, literally, you're putting the harm. It's making.
We don't want them to know that we're harming them. We just want them to buy 2 packs, please.
Exactly. And then if you think about it, like, we go to the club, right? Say, how we go to a club every Friday.
Of course.
We buy $600 bottles, $700 bottles.
$750.
$750. Yeah. It's because we need to spend that money to make ourselves feel better about ourselves.
When the podcast doesn't do well,
we're always like, why don't we have any money? We bought 2 Modelos at the club. It costs us $800. They were saying that like these labels. Think about it. Like a lot of alcohol is branding, right? So you get that Hennessy bottle, you holding it like this sideways. And you're like, yeah. But then you post that picture and it says, this has cancer warning. You're like, yeah. Oh. like, you know, like
let me turn it this way.
Yeah.
Oh shit, the skull and bones. Let me turn it
Exactly.
this way. Oh shit, dead baby.
So imagine like you buy a Casa Azul, right? The big ding bottle, and then you see like on the bottle, which where is the fucking label on that? On the bottom or some shit?
Probably,
or the
yeah.
box. So it's interesting like how that'll ruin a commercial and how like all like commercials gotta be taken down. That's marketing. That's this and that. So like I kind of get it capitalist wise, but I'm like, nah, dog. Like you know, this is harm. You know. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw how recently on Amazon Prime they switched and reverted back the original cover art to Full Metal Jacket, where on the helmet of Full Metal Jacket says "Born to Kill." There was a bunch of controversy that just erupted out of nowhere online, or people were like, that's not okay to say, like, you know, whatever, this and that.
Yeah.
And so Amazon took it down, and then one of the actors in the movie was like, that's like, you guys are missing the whole point of this movie. Like,
Was that Vietnam? Was that in Vietnam, that movie? Because I know they wrote on their helmets
I
a lot.
believe so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is. But.
I haven't seen that movie in so long. That movie's disturbing as fuck.
Really? Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah.
Wait, I think I watched Full Metal Jacket. Is that Stanley Kubrick?
Yeah.
I did watch. Yeah. Yeah, it is Vietnam War, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that movie is pretty fucking disturbing.
That's where he like. Don't show it, so it's no spoilers. But that's what it is.
Yeah.
That movie's awesome.
It's really good.
This is my rifle. Without what is it?
This is my rifle. Without my rifle, I am nothing. Without
me,
me, my rifle is nothing.
Yeah, there's many rifles, but this one is mine.
Yeah,
that movie is crazy, bro.
Yeah,
oh
man.
my god, bro.
And so it's just
Ooh.
I think about that of like that controversy that just erupted out of nowhere, and it came from clearly, at least from what I see, people who just didn't actually watch the movie or who are missing the point of that movie, where it's just like, no, guys, like that Born to Kill thing, like it's borderline erasing history.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, like that's who we were.
Yeah,
if it makes you unhappy,
Yeah.
then like be happy that we're not like that, or at least not as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like depending on who you are and how you look at America. But
Switch mega hat.
but it's just, it's like I feel like that's like an erasure of like what that movie is trying to say and the point that it's trying to make. And so, you know, if you're trying to remove these warning labels off of this stuff and like trying to say that like, oh, it's only gonna harm us, it's like, go eat a bag of dicks, dude.
Yeah, man.
Like
it's clearly for money. It's clearly
like
the money
you're just
grab.
doing this for money, and you just like don't give a shit about like killing a bunch of people, and you just want to make a quick buck.
That's why I'm bringing these facts up, because for me, like, it just really upset me, because it's like, bro, like all these people, like literally all these groups are trying to do is lessen the deaths in Ireland and hopefully across the world. And you guys are like, but we need money. You know, like, that's what we want. We want money.
but what are we going to do about the money?
Who cares if little
we don't want to be
die?
like Jonathan Majors. We want to be billionaires.
Yeah, man. So these arguments were made from 11 alcohol exporting countries, including the U.S. Italian's foreign minister, I think he said this is a war on the Mediterranean diet. And he also said it doesn't take into account, it's retarded. It doesn't take into account the difference between moderate consumption and alcohol abuse, which again makes sense, right? My bad. It makes sorry, Mike.
Yeah,
it makes sense, because it's like they made a point. They were like, "What about the little 500 milliliter bottles? Like, you just put that on there, right? Like that's not gonna give you cancer." But again, WHO is saying no amount of alcohol consumption is safe for you. So just put the fucking label, you know?
Yeah.
I get the argument in terms of like being a lawyer, I guess, and you want to be like smart, but it's like, bro, like some people have problems, you know what I mean? And they really see that shit and they're like, maybe that'll deter one person and save that one life, you know? And man, alcohol deaths aren't just from cancer. Like you can get into an accident, man. And that's the craziest thing about the whole thing, you know? And it's real sad. Like, or alcohol poisoning, you know?
Or, you know, and just even like you said, doing crazy shit when you're drunk and getting into a really bad accident, like that guy who blew off his hand at the fireworks.
Bro, that I'm grateful to see. You've seen it too, right? You saw the actual video?
You showed me it.
I know.
You fucking scumbag.
It's a lesson, bro. Be careful.
Because, you know, me out of all people, I'm going to be fucking holding fireworks drunk off, like blackout.
Watching the show, you're like, oh shit, a firework.
Yo, man, fucking, I'm going to recreate that video. Frankie, look at me.
Where is he? Why you lying to me? Yeah, man, that shit is crazy.
Let's never have that video resurface.
Never. 2 weeks later, most popular. Frankie, look at me. So I have no idea what we're talking about. You'll never know what we're talking about. The Distilled Spirits Council of the U.S. Yo, bro, it's mad funny when we were at the concert. It was the Menzingers one, I think. So you just threw up.
Yep. Just a quick what?
I feel like this is what you do when you throw up when you do that. You were holding that 2 drinks, I think, or maybe 1.
Yeah.
Or I was holding 2 drinks, or maybe when I went, whatever. But I think every time you throw up when you're drinking, either you're standing, you throw up, you go, and then you look at me, and then I'm like,
yeah, I'll do that.
it's
I'm
funny,
like,
though. Fuck it though, man. I haven't the one time I threw up badly was at a party, and I was in a U couch, like U couch,
Mhm.
and I was sitting right in the middle, and I went to the bathroom to throw up, and some motherfuckers were in there just taking forever. So I returned to my seat as respectfully as possible, and I just fucking exorcist projectile vomited all over the floor, like in front of like probably 8 people just sitting down. Imagine the people standing up. I just went and thankfully I had a fucking another shirt in my bag that day, but I was like, bro, what the fuck did I just do?
dude.
That was young though. I was pretty young.
I remember I had a friend here that was pretty fucked up, and one day, and we were gonna keep drinking that night and shit. And there was a moment where she ended up falling asleep.
Ooh.
And out of
I was
nowhere,
like, ooh, like that was a weird ooh.
yo, hey, come on, man.
What are you doing, step bro?
That's not the ooh I was conveying, bro. I was
But fucking out of nowhere, she just randomly gets up out of nowhere, starts running out the living room, and I'm like, oh boy. And I like go after her to check on her. And she's not in the bathroom. Instead, she threw up in the kitchen sink,
bro,
with dishes in the sink.
You gotta eat pancakes off that the next week.
Like I was like, I asked her, I was like, "What were you thinking?" Like the bathroom is literally like.
She went to the bathroom, to the toilet. She's like, "No, not here." She walked out, go to the dishes. Perfect.
Her reasoning was the kitchen was closer. I was like, "It literally isn't. You passed the bathroom on the way to the kitchen."
To be fair to a drunk person, everything is logical. You know what I mean?
Without a doubt. But I was pissed. I was like, "Are you like?
Why are you running? Why are you running?
That's pretty funny.
That shit got me tight."
I'll believe you, bro. It's dishes right there. That's what you gotta do the dishes, bro.
I do.
What's it called? So the Distilled Spirit Council of the U.S. called these labels, quote, inaccurate and, quote, misleading, and found that it would be more appropriate to shift this initiative exclusively to Europe, since they deal with this link between cancer and alcohol much more. AKA, your problem, you deal with it. Don't make us suffer because you guys are pretty bad with it. Although, and I didn't, but I'm sure if you look up the deaths in America that are due to alcohol, or even that guy's one hand blowing up because of Bud Light, you can already tell we probably have a shitload of problems here too. Or Justin Timberlake.
Nice cultural reference.
I got you, bro. I got you. There was so many little. Yo, I love the comments on videos, man. I love it. They were like, "Yo, his driving wasn't in sync with his sobriety, bro." Like they're so fast, bro. It's so good. But that's all I can think of right now. What's it called? The labels are found less effective when they're on the back of the bottle because they tend to be unnoticed. So they want to push it in the front. And then basically South Korea has multiple warning labels that the alcohol makers can choose from. Okay. So that's a little fair, right? And lastly, an area in Canada, Yukon, ran a study with scientists on brightly covered warning labels. And one of those warning labels were, quote, alcohol can cause cancer. So this area in Canada was not as populated, not huge, right? But they're just experimenting. They're just like doing research. Like, what are the effects of these bright labels going to do to consumers, right?
Right.
But alcohol trade groups complained and local government shut down the operation. And they didn't want to continue because they were worried about the lawsuit that was going to be very costly. So basically they were like, hey, either you stop this right now or get fucked. And they were like, well, don't want to get fucked.
That's a mafia type shit right there.
And basically,
you better fucking stop trying to pass these law bills.
Ma, he's not gay. He's creative. You don't remember? You ever seen that family?
You've told me about it.
This is bad funny. Silly.
Pride.
Shout out Pride Month. There is this very good quote that I think is very good. That wraps this whole thing up. It's by Dr. Gaudin Galea, strategic advisor at the WHO. He says, quote, people will not remember the time when you needed a warning on pesticides, but could sell an unlabeled carcinogen like alcohol with impunity. I was like, damn.
Say it again.
My bad. I fucked it up. Fuck. All right. People will not remember the time when you needed a warning on pesticides, but could sell an unlabeled carcinogen like alcohol with impunity. Basically saying like, you're gonna fucking put you can't buy these tomatoes, or you shouldn't buy these tomatoes because they have pesticides, but you can buy a cancer-causing liquid like alcohol, like nothing, because you have no idea. That's what he said. That's the direct call. If you got a problem with that, you speak with him, okay? You don't speak with me.
If you need to speak to Frankie, you can come and speak to me. Bust your fucking kneecaps.
And this article also was by Ted Alcorn by the New York Times, just because most of it was
what a cornball.
Hell facts, bro. But yeah, I just think that shit's interesting, man. I think it's like not so uncommon, but I think it could be shocking to a lot of people. And just be careful out there when you go have a little whiskey. Just be careful.
Yeah, you know, when you go out there on a thirsty Thursday, like instead of landing a people's elbow on a girl's forehead and killing her instantaneously after a few drinks, like take a second and say, you know what?
Just reflect. Don't use the elbow. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Use the knee.
Use the knee. Or you know, you could always do the classic Doctor Strange.
I like when they snap necks in movies because that shit make no sense. Like I seen The Killer the other day, and the motherfucker just went, and I'm like, no way, you just fucking snapped her neck.
Fucking turned her into an owl.
I'm like, God damn, bro, that shit. You know how strong you gotta be, bro. Jesus Christ.
And you remember? I remember a character in Lost snapped another character's neck with their legs.
God
like,
damn, bro.
They're like fighting in the sand and shit. And he like finally gets him in like an MMA move and just has his legs like locked around his neck and just goes. And I saw that shit as a kid. I was like, damn,
this motherfucker just killed him, man.
Just fucking killed him with his fucking legs, dog. That's crazy.
He got leg locked to heaven.
Like that. That's like when she wraps her legs around you.
That is the funniest form of screaming. Muffled scream. What? That shit is so fucking funny. You're having the worst time. You're being actually tortured.
I couldn't hear you over the sound of my pussy.
That's bad for being 69 upside down.
Who's carrying who in hour 69 though?
You're carrying me, bro. You gotta do the work. You gotta earn this.
Here we go. That's how we end the episode.
That's how you end the episode. That was a very casual news episode. That was a pretty chill episode. Nothing really bustling about that whole episode, but you know what? That's how it should be sometimes.
You know, sometimes on a thirsty Thursday,
you can't, you know.
It's Friday.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
socials. Shout out to the social Earth Might Matter Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Earth Might Matter on YouTube, and be on the lookout for our future episodes. You pieces of beautifulness.
Look at this guy. Look at his face. Look at his face. Oh, deuces.
Peace.